Here I am. I felt I should post something. I'm not generally up for this sort of thing, but I thought I might do it anyway, given what I've been seeing of late with almost a month. This organization or movement, MIGTOW. Um, I didn't even know such a thing existed, frankly. But I've been moving and I have those attitudes for some time, not exclusively leaving women out of the equation, but certainly treating them different. And as things have devolved and gotten worse, I've become more, as you would call, red pill. The reason why I'm posting this at all is in the course of watching some of this information, and I'm happy to see people with my point of view pointing out what basically is just facts. Uh, Unfortunately, I've gotten the inclination, at least, and I've seen in some cases overt, what amounts to is racism. This is not right or left. This isn't right or wrong. And the gender inequality and the things the feminists have done, even though they're left wing, you know, seems for some reason to be supported by people who it appears who are also white wing and in themselves as wrong as feminists with their racist point of view. And I'm saying this because one young lady, a blonde young lady, I think Ann Coulter, is a wonderful person. My goodness. You know, Hillary Clinton is as bad as Donald Trump. They're both buttholes. One isn't better than the other. But really what disturbs me is one guy, Redonkulous, and if you hear this, you may never hear this. I knew you were a military guy early on because I've been around that all my life. After all, I worked in the coal mine and I did some stuff for the government. So my father served in the military, so in World War II. In fact, most of our family served. And I would have served and gone to Vietnam had I graduated in 75. And the war, obviously, America's direct involvement ended in 73. I was gung-ho to go. In fact, I had arguments with my father about that. And there's more to be said about that, given the fact that America being as racist as it is, and I was willing to go fight for the country and maybe lose legs and who knows what else. For a country that doesn't even appreciate what I was doing. So, but eventually it didn't happen. I wound up working in a coal mine. And just as dangerous. I could tell you stories about that. And most of the guys I worked with were in Vietnam 2 or 3 tours. Combat unit, not pushing papers or supply clerks. Force recon, different guys. So Redonkulous, didn't say the N word, but apparently he has some racist underpinnings, which is disappointing when you have a guy that's a service member fought in combat. First thing men learn, despite whatever idiocy that we're taught as men, as young men coming up by the females who want to manipulate us, try to do. And this is black or white, doesn't matter. They use race to try to do that. We learn when you start playing football, basketball. Certainly, you start working in oil fields, coal mines, start working in your in the military, your platoon, your squad. Is that it's the guy on the right or left of you, whether or not he's willing to give his life for you without question. That trumps everything. And from that, you learn moving on. Rarely do I see Marines who seem to keep or maintain whatever they were programmed at early on. Unfortunately, some of the other militaries, even Navy SEAL, I've met a few of those, and they seem not to have, they weren't racist overtly, but they didn't seem to, oddly enough, with all the team emphasis, to have gotten rid of whatever pollution they had been programmed by. And again, this is feminism in and of itself. If you're black women want you to look at it that way. So, and white women definitely want to scare white men to think that, geez, she may go out and date a black man and not come back and all this other nonsense. And it's just manipulating both ways. It's just manipulation. And you're foolish to fall for it. And it's just us men doing what men have always done, firemen, all the things that we do that are dangerous, that we are brothers. And women are not. Sisters even. They backstab and they don't have the commonality that we have. Brotherhood. They don't. Unless it's just banding together to screw over men. It seems to be the one thing they can unify behind. So I'm just saying this. I wanted to post it because Redonkulus, I've seen some of his military postings, and it was enjoyable. It reminds me of time sitting around listening to my father and other family members who had served, and I worked in a coal mine, listening to those guys. And most of the time, the stories, even the stories I have to tell in the coal mine, which maybe had terrible things happening, but usually there's a funny or odd component as life oftentimes have. And that's what you're telling. It's at the end of the day, almost like a punchline to a story. All this is going on around you, fires and explosions, and this funny thing happens. And that was the punchline, the oddity of life. And, it was nice hearing about his experiences in the military. Eugene, the Marine, doesn't talk about that very much, but he doesn't seem to have a racist component to his at all, which is common with the Marines I've known. You're never an ex-Marine, you're a Marine for life. But Redonkulus, I really was a fan until lately. It just seems that this is the direction this man's going. And it's a shame, because a lot of what you were talking about were things I were talking about for years. I'm against women in combat. They don't belong there. They couldn't work in a coal mine. They can't play professional football. For me as a daughter, it makes you think they can fight in combat. Somebody's son's just not going to come home. There were very few women in a coal mine. There were a few of them. They put them in there. Couldn't carry their weight. Only two that I knew that you could say respectively got their checks and went home. Most of them, just sat and watched us work on buckets, and while they're getting paid $18 an hour to watch us work, because they couldn't do the physical work, or they wouldn't try. And I know they don't qualify in the military. I know what that's about. And they can't do the push-ups and stuff, and they can't carry the kit. And, if your son gets wounded, he comes home in a box because the next person up was supposed to be able to do it, but couldn't because she was a female. So they're in a box, or worse, wounded legs off or whatever. And the fact that women who have male family members or people they care about, sons, brothers, uncles, etc., to say, well, this is going to harm someone who is a male, who is someone I'm close to and I love. So let's put an end to this. No, we see it in the movies. Can't watch a male flick without seeing some women with a gun, nonsense. And it's nonsense. Anyone that's ever been shot at. Now, you can pull a trigger and stuff, but still, even they are not as adept at it as we are as men. And it's just pathetic, and it's insulting to men. And I've gotten to the point, even as a Christian man, to say, if you're a woman and I see you and you're having troubles, then either help yourself or wait for one of your female sisters to pull you out of that burning building, or pull you out of that car that you've driven into the water. Instead of having one of us men do it. And there would be firemen that do it professionally, or police professionals who men will do it. But oftentimes these rescues are just regular guys just going down the road or see a fire or something, and we respond because that's in us. We run toward chaos and challenges. We don't run away. But it's come to a time, if you're going to insult us, you're not going to appreciate us as men and what we can bring to the table. That's unique, that you can't bring to the table. And you don't appreciate our contribution. Then why should we keep doing it? So that's that. I don't want to say any more. I'm going to try to post this on YouTube. I've never posted. I think I only posted one time years ago or something. I don't even know how this is going to come out. I don't even know if the people this is targeted to will actually see it. I expect, I would hope, I'm a positive guy, that they'll look at this and think about where they are and maybe redirect their comments. After all, black men have been experiencing this MIGTOW thing from black women and black and white women forever, before white men now began being victimized by it. We were experiencing this way before. We're up on trees. We're swinging from trees because of false rape allegations and whatnot. They're just doing it to white men now. And we got it from black women. Nonsense. And it was different what the white women did, but they both, and you still hear it, So I thought maybe if I did this, maybe someone would think, just like the post that you make, you want someone to think about, right? And maybe some women will listen to this, and maybe some movement will come, and people will sort of get their headpan, cleaned out, and they start thinking differently about their positions, meaning women, and there'll be a change. It isn't just a gripe, or else what's the point? But hopefully you can change people. Well, maybe you people who are MIGTOW or men's rights, who apparently seem to be conservative, will see the truth of the totality of the positions. And they include black men, and we were victims, and we're being victimized even worse than white men, truthfully told. Black men wind up in jail and stuff because of this stuff, more so than white men. Doesn't mean what happens to white men is any less of value or is terrible. I'll make that point. Bad is bad. But it started with us first, and now it's like a disease going into white, which is a lot of times what happens. Like Black Lives Matter with the Second Amendment. I'm a Second Amendment advocate, but you go talk on those websites, and here you are, these people that are racist. Black Lives Matter proves the point. There are many Ruby Ridges and Wacos in the black community happening every day. It just proves the point of the Second Amendment and what it's for. But unfortunately, they don't see it that way until it actually is happening to them. So I'm going to shut this off, and I'm going to try to post it in YouTube. See where that comes. See where that goes.